Live from Southwest Florida's news source, Fox 40 News at 10.
Who does Hillary Clinton have in mind to be her vice president? A list is being compiled. This as a new poll show both party frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump besting their rivals in Pennsylvania, one of the states up for grabs in next Super Tuesday. Mary Maloney has more on the race to the nominations.
Before even wrapping up the nomination, it looks like Veep stakes has already begun for Hillary Clinton. According to the New York Times, the Democratic frontrunner for president is compiling a list of 15 to 20 potential running mates, with earnest vetting to start by late spring. Clinton herself not commenting on just who is topping that list.
I'm just working hard to win on Tuesday.
Clinton touched on health care, criminal justice, and gun control Sunday, ahead of Tuesday's contests in 5 mid-Atlantic states: Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Rhode Island. In the face-off for votes, Bernie Sanders insists the fight is far from over, but admits it isn't going to be easy.
Don't let anyone tell you we're thinking too big. What I believe today, and what I have always believed, is that when people stand together, united and not divided, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish.
As for GOP frontrunner Donald Trump, he's also confident about what he can do, and it seems he won't be changing his tone anytime soon.
You know, being presidential is easy. Much easier than what I have to do. Here I have to rant and rave. I have to keep you people going. Otherwise, you're going to fall asleep on me, right?
No matter the name-calling and posturing between Trump, Cruz, and Kasich, the magic delegate number of 1237 is still needed before any candidate can take on Bernie Sanders or, say, Hillary Clinton and her cast of running mates. Mary Maloney, Fox 4, in your corner.
Thank you, Mary. And you know you can count on 4 in your corner to bring you the latest primary results this Super Tuesday on Fox 4 News at both 10 and 11. A Connecticut man has been arrested for threatening to bomb a Donald Trump rally. Police arresting Sean Morkes after Secret Service contacted them about a tweet posting that threatened to bomb the event. Morkes posting, quote, "Is someone going to bomb the Trump rally, or am I going to have to?" A second tweet urged a friend to have his family members leave the rally. Secret Service deciding he wasn't a real threat, but state police still arresting him for first-degree threatening, inciting injury to a person or property, and second-degree breach of peace. The U.S. is sending an additional 250 special operations troops to Syria. Sources say President Obama will make a formal announcement tomorrow. Those U.S. forces will not do any direct fighting in Syria. Instead, their goal will be to advise Syrian forces in the hope that they would take more territory from ISIS near Raqqa. The U.S. already has 50 special operations forces doing similar work in Syria. A senior administration official says Obama decided to send more troops because of recent success against ISIS. It has been nearly 15 years in the waiting. A key portion of the congressional inquiry into the 9/11 terror attacks kept secret for all these years. Now, the Obama administration may release at least a portion of its conclusions about a possible Saudi government connection to the hijackers. Fox News correspondent Garrett Tenney is in Washington with the latest.
The White House has been moving in this direction over the last couple of weeks. In fact, just a few days ago in Saudi Arabia, Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes told reporters at least some of the classified 28 pages would be released. Many people believe those pages of the congressional inquiry into the 9/11 attacks contain evidence that members of the Saudi government provided aid and support to the 9/11 terrorists. Neither the congressional inquiry nor the 9/11 Commission found any evidence of senior Saudi government officials funding the 9/11 terrorists. But critics say that doesn't rule out lower-level officials or other members of the royal family being involved.
The most important unanswered question of 9/11 is, did these 19 people conduct this very sophisticated plot alone, or were they supported? And I think all the evidence points to Saudi Arabia.
Two sources who have read the 28 pages tell Fox News the data draws connections between several of the hijackers and some of Saudi Arabia's wealthiest individuals, described as one-percenters. Many current and former officials, though, believe in the end these documents may not live up to the speculation that's grown over the last 14 years.
I think that the ideas about what the Saudis may have done are probably far divergent from what actually happened. So release the 28 pages, let people make up their minds.
Thank you, Garrett. Now, there's been growing pressure on the White House over the last few weeks to do this. From former officials, the families of 9/11 victims, and members of Congress in both parties, all calling for the 28 pages to be released. The White House is expected to make its decision in the next several weeks.
We have a few showers rolling through southwestern Florida right now. Here showing up nicely on the satellite and radar composite into areas like Lee County in the extreme northwestern corner here, pushing into Charlotte County. Not really expecting anything severe with this. It's just a few showers, and it's really due to convergence. The winds are out of the southeast and then hitting a wind that's coming on shore, and that creates the lift required there, and the moisture, obviously, from the access to the moisture over the Gulf of Mexico. We're getting a few of those little showers popping up, but those will be gone tomorrow morning when you get your day started. Looking at temperatures out there, still fairly nice, 76 to about 78 degrees. And then in terms of the wind, as I'd mentioned to you, fairly light out of the southeast for the most part out there right now. And if we take a look at your dew point temperatures, it is a little bit sticky. Dew points are going to remain high. It's that time of the year now, so get used to the fact that it is going to be humid. And then for your wake-up forecast, 68 degrees to get your day started. By the time we get to 10 o'clock, at 76. And by the time we get into the 10 o'clock hour, mainly sunny skies. Your full forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Trevor. North Korea's latest missile launch prompting international backlash. The missile was launched from a submarine off the east coast of the Korean peninsula. CNN's Paula Hancock has details from Seoul.
This is something we know that North Korea has been working on for a long time. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff saying that Pyongyang has fired what it believes to be a ballistic missile from a submarine. Now, they say that it flew for about 30 kilometers or just under 20 miles. And in order for this type of launch from a submarine to be considered a success, it needs to fly for around 300 kilometers or just over 180 miles. Now, clearly, it fell far short of that. But South Korean officials are not directly calling this a failure. And with good reason. Every test that North Korea does takes it one step closer to its goal. It always learns something, no matter what the outcome. And of course, if in fact North Korea did manage to fire a ballistic missile from a submarine, no matter how far it went, that would be significant. One US official telling us just how worrying this development is for Washington, saying, quote, North Korea's sub-launch capability has gone from a joke to something very serious. The US is watching this very closely. Now, of course, the timing is very interesting, as it always is with North Korea. 2016 has been very busy. It's been very tense. There's been that purported H-bomb test in January, a satellite launch, a claim of miniaturizing a nuclear warhead. And, of course, it just comes ahead of a very rare Congress, a Workers' Party Congress in early May, which hasn't been held since 1980 and will likely be used by leader Kim Jong-un to strengthen his power and his grip on power. And of course, South Korean officials believe that there could even be a fifth nuclear test ahead of that meeting. Paula Hancock, CNN Seoul.
Thank you, Paula. North Korea's rare Congress of its ruling Workers' Party will meet for the first time in 36 years. Florida is having a tough time coming up with a new insurance commissioner. The current commissioner was supposed to leave May 2nd, but he's offered to stay longer because Governor Rick Scott and Chief Financial Officer Jeff Atwater have been unable to agree on a successor. The governor and cabinet are scheduled to discuss and possibly vote on a new commissioner this week. The job is crucial because the person regulates an important industry in a hurricane-prone state. Hurricane season right around the corner starts June 1st. An animal sanctuary in Florida is welcoming its newest member, a male tiger rescued from a Peruvian circus. His rescue and removal from Peru was years in the making. Fox's Kelly Cowan has the story from Tampa.
Canceled flights, delays, and more than 24 hours of travel later, Hoover, a 12-year-old Bengal tiger, finally arrived to his new home. But his travel nightmares were nothing compared to the nightmare Hoover lived as part of a traveling circus act in Peru.
Hoover's story is one of the saddest stories, I think, of the whole rescue, because originally that circus had 12 tigers, and he's the only survivor.
In 2011, Peru banned the use of wild animals in circuses. But instead of turning their tigers over to rescuers, Hoover's owners went into hiding. Animal Defenders International, a group that's rescued more than 100 wild animals worldwide, spent 8 months tracking down Hoover's owners. When they finally caught up to them, Hoover was alive, but in very bad shape.
He was very thin, he was very sick. He was full of parasites. He had some severe parasite infections.
In ADI's care, Hoover slowly recovered, putting on nearly 50 pounds in the last year, while his rescuers worked to find him a permanent home. When they visited Big Cat Rescue in Tampa, they knew they'd found the perfect place.
When you see his enclosure here, it says it all, really. This is heaven for him. This is an animal who, for all of his life until he came to us, never walked on grass.
Now Hoover has acres of his own grass, trees, and brush to explore. He's even seeing a pond for the very first time in his life.
Tigers do love to swim. They love the water. So we've given Hoover one of our prime acre waterfront lots, if you will.
While quite intrigued by this new amenity, Hoover wasn't quite ready to dive in. But he'll have plenty of time to learn to swim as he eases into his new life here in the Sunshine State.
Big Cat Rescue does offer daily tours for the public to learn about their rescued animals. However, they say Hoover will need to be quarantined for about a month before he's ready for his public debut. Still to come, playing mom, a mother cat showing no hesitation to when it comes to some abandoned baby squirrels. Plus, time is running out to help name the 5-week-old eagle nestlings in the National Arboretum. But first,
I thought, we're going to be seeing Prince well into his 80s.
Canceled concerts, a last-minute party, and biking around his neighborhood. Up next, the days leading up to Prince's death. You're watching Fox 4 News at 10.
There's a chance of showers and thunderstorms in the forecast. When will that impact you? The details are coming up.